From Hobart and William Smith Colleges, this is Meet the Campus with John Heavey.
This week, we'll go into the office of Associate Professor of Economics, Beth Mertens, sit down with Associate Professor of Religious Studies, Richard Salter, and visit the William Smith Senior Class President, Kelly Biggs. So join me this week and every week for Meet the Campus with me, John Heavey. Because if you don't know, now you know. In addition to being a recent New York State Professor of the Year, Beth Mertens works as a fiscal consultant for such giants as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, and has traveled to such places as Malawi, Bhutan, Vietnam, and Kosovo to share her expertise.
When I was in the 7th grade, I knew that I wanted to get a Ph.D. 2005, I was named New York State Professor of the Year. I was in the Peace Corps in Mali. I didn't take this photo. I found it years later. It is of the marketplace in Jenne. This is my dog Annie, and I bring her into the office with me, and it's her favorite thing. Well, I often say that this is the only institution of higher learning where I feel like I belong. When I was in the 5th grade, I read a biography of Elizabeth Blackwell. It was sort of one of the first times I realized, I can do anything. It didn't matter that I was a girl. I've always felt like I have a cosmic connection with Hobart and William Smith because of the early influence of Elizabeth Blackwell's story on my life.
A 1986 graduate of Hobart College, Associate Professor of Religious Studies Richard Salter served 2 years in the Dominica as a Peace Corps volunteer before earning his Ph.D. from the University of Chicago.
People ask me about teaching here after having attended quite a bit. The fundamental reality is that if I were to have come back here, I probably wouldn't recognize many of the buildings because so much is new. And in '86, the ad campaign for the colleges was about challenging your expectations. That's one thing that hasn't changed. When the opportunity came up to come back and teach here, I was excited about being able to teach here because that was still something that was valued. I kind of have an interesting relationship with the buildings. I can remember having taken classes in Cox Hall and in Trinity, but also a lot of the buildings are completely new. So I don't always think of what I was doing in them as a student when I go up there to teach. I think that's probably a good idea.
Majoring in sociology, rising senior Kelly Biggs plans on attending law school after graduation. But in her final year at HWS, as the William Smith Senior Class President and member of the college's chorale and a cappella groups, Kelly remains an active member of the campus community.
I'm a people person. I'm involved in a lot on campus, and it's about meeting people and understanding why people are the way they are. And they tell you before they prepare you to go abroad not to have expectations, but everybody does. And the Vietnam program is a really challenging program, and it completely blew my mind. The culture and the people and the smells and the food, it's so stimulating, and it's an experience that I'll never forget. One of the best parts about going to a small liberal arts college is that there's so much to get involved in outside the classroom. And I've definitely taken advantage of a lot of great opportunities. I really have enjoyed from the beginning getting to know so many people, but not just students. It's the administrators and the faculty and the staff. Getting a hug from the dean of your college is something that doesn't happen everywhere. And I think that it's one of the really specific things that makes this place so special.
I'm John T.S. Heavey. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next week for another edition of Meet the Campus.